What's good, YouTube? It's your boy DVD, and lately in my comment section there's been this fun activity of calling me David with the 4. So today we're gonna be clearing that up, right? Me, the guy right here, I'm DVD, and D4VD is the maniac who went around to kill an underage girl. All right, so today we're gonna be reacting to that case so I can help you make that difference, because apparently it's a problem, and I wanna nip this in the bud before it gets any further.
What is potentially the strongest evidence right now against David?
Bro, I can't lie. He kinda does look like me, gang. He kinda does. It's the skin tone, bro. We have similar skin tone. It's the skin tone, bro.
21-year-old man accused of murdering and dismembering 14-year-old Celeste Hernandez. Digital forensics, witnesses. I want to condense it, I want to explain it, and I also want to talk about what the defense may do. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. So one of the things I wanted to focus on that we didn't really get an opportunity to do, I think, in our prior episodes, is to really understand how strong is the evidence against David. Kind of gives us a preview of what a preliminary hearing will look like, now scheduled.
I actually don't know a lot about this case. I know that her body was found in his car, dismembered. I don't know if it was fully dismembered, but I literally I didn't listen to David. I checked out some of his music. It's not really my cup of tea. It's not really my kind of music, but apparently he was blowing up, bro. I'm not gonna lie, he was blowing up.
Later in the month, again, that's where the prosecution will present sufficient evidence to have the case move forward towards trial. That's what they're hoped to do. They'll have a challenge from the defense, or even what we can expect from a trial. And when I talk about the evidence, maybe what's the most compelling evidence?
He does not look remorseful in the least, bro. I ain't gonna lie. He looked like he couldn't care less. He looked like he don't give a fuck.
Because we spent an episode really diving into the disturbing allegations that came out, but now I want to put my legal cap on for a minute. I want to talk about the allegations, the alleged evidence, how strong it may or may not be. So we're talking about 21-year-old David Anthony Burke, goes by David, months after 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez was found dead, mutilated, reportedly in David's Tesla at a Hollywood tow yard. Prosecutors have charged him, the singer-songwriter, with first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains.
How old is he? How old is David?
In fact, all the charges are very, very connected to one another, and the theory is connected to one another. So we go to the brief that was filed by the prosecution in anticipation of the preliminary hearing. It was first set for this week. It's now been delayed. But it says, quote, "Tellingly, defendant subsequently purchased tools to carry out his plot to dismember and dispose of the victim's body. On April 24th, 2025, remember, they are saying that she was killed on April 23rd, 2025 at his house. On April 24th, 2025, defendant ordered a shovel from Home Depot that was delivered to his home from Postmates. On May 1st, 2025, defendant ordered and subsequently Amazon delivered 2 chainsaws to his home.
How can is it even allowed to buy a chainsaw? Can you buy a chainsaw on Amazon? What?
May 5th, 2025, defendant ordered and Amazon subsequently delivered a body bag, heavy-duty laundry bags, and a blue inflatable pool to his home. He made these purchases under the fake name Victoria Mendez. On May 8th, 2025, defendant returned to the same area in Santa Barbara County, leaving his home at around 11:30 p.m. He returned to the area again on May 31st, 2025. This is an isolated site off SR 154 where the victim's identification was subsequently discovered in January 2026. Additionally, on July 7th, 2025, defendant ordered and subsequently Amazon delivered a burn cage to his home under the same fake name as part of his plan to incinerate evidence. Moreover, defendant took horrifying measures to destroy and discard the victim's body. After placing her body into the blue inflatable pool to prevent her blood from spilling onto his garage floor, defendant used a chainsaw and perhaps other tools to cut off her limbs. Small blue plastic fragments were found embedded in the victim's remains, which were collected by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Department. The fragments were analyzed by the LAPD's Forensic Science Division Trace Analysis Unit. An expert was able to match a physical fit match from the blue fragments to the blue inflatable pool purchased by defendant in May 2025. In order to distance himself from the victim, he amputated her left ring and pinky fingers because her ring finger contained a tattoo of his name. Her fingers have not been recovered. Defendant then placed her head and torso into the cadaver bag he purchased. He placed her limbs into a garbage bag, which he deposited into his front trunk, laying the cadaver bag on top. For several weeks or possibly months, defendant left the victim's body to decompose inside his Tesla. Okay, of course.
What the fuck? At this point, just fucking take me in, bro. I'm not doing all that. I can't even break that down, bro. I can't even break that down. That's fucking insane. At that point, just take me to jail, because I'm not living life with those images in my head, bro. So now you have like that trauma of doing that to another human being and you go to jail? Hell nah, bruh. Just take me to jail the first time. I'd just rather just take the time, bro, because that's actually fucking insane.
There will be a battle of experts and questions of how the evidence was collected, what does it mean, how it was maintained, but potentially making the blue fragments match is huge. If you match the pool to him, you match the pool to Celeste, that's going to be critical. The alleged purchase history, this digital trail, some of the most potentially damning evidence out there. We have seen historically that has been hard for defense attorneys to argue away or explain away. You know, I saw this idea that perhaps, maybe these materials were purchased for some sort of music video. That could be a tough sell, particularly you talk about the timing, right? The timing of when authorities say Celeste was killed, unless there's going to be a dispute, not only about cause of death by the defense, but also time of death. Why would you allegedly purchase those things? And if the order and delivery records confirm this, that's huge for the prosecution's case. I mean, the list of potential evidence in this brief says, quote, DNA evidence developed from blood stains collected from defendant's garage which match the victim's genetic profile. Proof of defendant's Amazon purchases and deliveries to his residence, including 2 chainsaws, a body bag, an inflatable pool, heavy-duty laundry bags, and a burn cage.
Yo, look, in the world we live in, bro, you're not getting away with murder, bro. With the tech the feds have, add on with the fact that we all have like a digital footprint somewhere, unless if you literally live in a cave in the mountains, and even that, we have satellites, bro. You're not getting away with murder. There's no way, like, if you don't get caught by the DNA evidence left on the site of the murder, you're gonna get caught in the cleanup process of the murder. You understand what I'm saying? There's no way he was gonna get away with this, bro.
April 24th, 2025. Again, the records, maybe you even have the delivery person testify. Private investigator Steve Fisher, who's been on this case from the very beginning, shared photos of some of those alleged packages. You can see the deliveries are addressed to Victoria Mendez, or appear to be. It's unclear why David would use that particular name, but, quote, proof of defendant's purchase and delivery from Postmates of a shovel from Home Depot to his home.
Also, why would he use a different name but still deliver it to his house? That don't make sense.
On April 24th, 2025, it's not just one item, right? It's a collection of these very specific items that is, again, my opinion, not great for the defense. But again, we're still in the early stages of this. Uber records showing defendant's transaction where he ordered an Uber to pick up the victim from her Lake Elsinore home and transport her to his residence the night of April 23rd, 2025. And when LAPD served a search warrant at the home that David was renting or staying at after Celeste was identified, they reportedly found all sorts of evidence in the garage to support this claim, this argument of dismemberment, including biological evidence that tested positive for blood. They say they were able, again, to match the evidence to the victim's unique genetic profile. I mentioned that before. Talk about the pool again. This reportedly had multiple linear cuts. And on top of all that, according to the prosecution's brief, surveillance video and other evidence confirmed defendant was the last person to drive the vehicle on July 29th, 2025, before he left Los Angeles on a concert tour. And remember, her body was discovered about a little over a month later. And the filing states that David lied to friends, business associates, and others about the...
Yeah, bro, I ain't gonna hold you. This is like the worst time to be called David, bro. If your name is David, bro, literally, I don't know why, but we're all under scrutiny. If you black and you're called David, nigga, you might as well just turn yourself in, gang, cause you're a suspect too, my guy. We're all fucking suspects. I don't care if your name is David right now. Just low key, bro. Just low key. Just play low key, bro.
Strong smell of decay in and around the home and the car. So it could be very difficult for defense attorneys to say, you know, he was completely in the dark, he's being framed, he had no idea what was happening, what was going on. Although, is it possible someone else maybe had access to the car afterwards? Possibly, but does that negate his alleged knowledge of what was going on? So it goes to the idea of who may be a cooperating witness as well, right? What did they observe about the car? What did they smell? What did they ask David? So this all makes me wonder in terms of a defense. I wonder if defense attorneys could get to the point and say, look.
Yo, he a zesty ass motherfucker, bro. I can't even lie. He's just zesty as hell. I'm getting mad zesty vibes from this thing.
Yeah, he bought all this stuff. Yep, we're going to acknowledge that. He purchased all this stuff after prosecutors claim she died, right? They might not say she was killed, that she died. So maybe they may make the argument he wasn't responsible for her death. Maybe she died in another way. And then in a panic, he was just part of the disposal, or he helped with the disposal. I don't know if they're going to say perhaps someone else is responsible for her death. So in other words, will we ever really know what happened to Celeste or not? Because according to the autopsy report that was released, Celeste's official cause of death was multiple penetrating injuries. The manner of death was homicide. But perhaps defense attorneys will argue against that. Battle of the experts, say her body was too decomposed to really know what happened, to really know how she died. And then we get to this. So investigators contend that April 23rd was when Celeste was allegedly killed by David, soon after arriving at the house in the Hollywood Hills. How do they know that? How do they establish that time frame? From the court filing by the prosecution, it says, quote, at approximately 8:40 p.m. on April 23rd, 2025, defendant sent an Uber to transport the victim from her Lake Elsinore home to his residence. Again, the digital records will be key here. You don't always have that in other cases. They communicated before and during her Uber ride, which dropped her off at defendant's Hollywood Hills home around 10:10 p.m. Okay, so again, the digital records, the text messages, the potential testimony of this driver. At approximately 10:30 p.m., defendant sent text messages to the victim inquiring where she was. So it might be hard for the defense to say that message wasn't sent, the time frame. So you're looking at this 20 minutes, what happened? Prosecution says the people contend this was part of defendant's premeditated plan to cover up the murder, as she was already dead by this time. It's a good point, right? I mean, like, why would
he was already ready to cover his ass after he had done it. He was quick for someone to be that ready to like buy all the tools and fucking bro was ready. Bro already had a fucking plan. Like
her or allegedly text her if she was at the house. I mean, is this house so big he didn't know where she was? I don't know. Or does it go to this narrative that, you know, he's trying to cover up the tracks and trying to say something happened to her? Quote, knowing he had to silence the victim before she ruined his music career, as she had threatened very soon after her arrival at his home, defendant stabbed the victim to death multiple times and stood by while she bled out. Now, I will tell you, I don't know what evidence they have to definitively establish what happened behind closed doors. This is their narrative. This is their theory. And by the way, I will get into a little bit more about the special circumstances allegations, that this is not just a murder, according to prosecutors, but a very specific kind of murder, the motive behind it. Quote, at no time did he call law enforcement or 911 or take her to an emergency room to attempt to save her life. And that's important because they'll say that this wasn't a case like, you know, they got into a fight, she attacked him, he panicked, you know, killed her as a result of self-defense, called 911. They're ruling that out. Quote, despite knowing she was dead and her family was trying to find her, the evidence will show defendant lied and claimed he didn't know where she was. In fact, defendant drove to Santa Barbara County immediately after the victim died, attempting to dispose of her property and destroy evidence. At approximately 11:30 p.m. on April 23rd, 2025, he drove away from his home as he texted and called the victim's phone asking where she was. Again, these were acts calculated and planned to set up his defense within a very short timeline after the victim's vicious murder.
Yeah, bro. Like that's what I'm saying, bro. The fact that he was so hot and ready to like, he thought very fucking fast, bro. I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. He's crazy. That's some psychotic behavior, bro.
Drove his Tesla north on the 101 freeway to San Marcos Pass Road, SR 154, near Lake Cachuma in Santa Barbara County. Now I'm wondering if there are potentially cameras capturing this movement. He returned home early the following morning on April 24th, 2025, before going to a radio interview for the release of his album that week. He sent 2 additional texts to the victim's phone that day, which obviously went unanswered because she was already dead. I'm going to talk about interviews in a little bit, by the way. After April 26, 2025, defendant never attempted to contact her again. That's important. That's important. If the phone records establish he didn't text her or call her and he's completely innocent, that would be surprising, right? Somebody, at the very least, that he knows, has a connection with. She disappears, he's not going to try to contact her. Again, this is the prosecution's narrative. We'll see what the defense says, but another piece of evidence. Quote, defendant's cellular activity and communications derived from defendant's iPhone and Tesla, which demonstrate defendant's activities from April 22nd, 2025 through April 24th, 2025, including a trip to Santa Barbara County in the middle of the night after the victim arrived at his Hollywood Hills home. Evidence, evidence. So that's the key here, that why prosecutors are going with lying in wait, silencing a witness, the special circumstances allegations to enhance the potential penalties for the murder charge, that David planned this, that it wasn't like they were arguing and something happened or she had an overdose and he panicked. They are making the argument that this was planned, this was premeditated, that he allegedly wanted her dead to keep her quiet about their alleged secret relationship.
Yeah, bro, I don't have a law degree. I'm not a cop. I'm not a detective. But that nigga definitely did that shit, bro. He did it. He did it. He did it. Lock him up. That's freaking crazy. He's crazy. He said, don't let him have no more kids. Don't let his bloodline continue, bro. He killed that poor girl. Put him in jail. Put him in jail. Put him under the fucking jail, man. That's a crazy behavior, bro. And he's a superstar. How many people might he have killed that didn't come to the public eye? Because to me, it sounds like behavior of someone that's like hot and ready to do that shit, bro. Anyways, I'm DVD. This is that guy that just did him. Wait, where he at? This is David. He's David. I'm DVD. That's David, bro. Don't put us in the same boat, gang. Respectfully. Anyways, thank you for watching. Comment what you think about this. Stop with calling me David, bro. Please, it's making me fucking nervous. I'm a very peaceful guy, bro. I get nervous when these shits come in my comment section. It freaks me out, bro. It freaks me out. And the worst part is that I didn't even know how bad it was. I didn't know. I thought he just, I don't know. Like, usually you kill someone and you shoot them and then you just hide the body. I thought that's what it was, but bro was out here dismembering, buying chainsaws. Oh my god, the fucking chainsaw, bro. Anyways, love you. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.